Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, and welcome back to another episode of Sure It'll Be Grand, your favorite shitty podcast where two Irish guys, that's me, Owen, and with me is Dan, as always. We take a look at a different movie every week. We give our feelings, our thoughts, we run through the plot, and this week we're kicking the competition and taking a look at 1984's The Karate Kid. We're going to take you guys through the plot, discuss a little bit about whether or not the movie still holds up since watching Cobra Kai, and we'll even go through some of you guys' comments and questions. Plus, you can stick around right to the end to find out what movie we're going to cover on next week's episode. As I said, my name is Owen, with me is Dan. Say hello, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Classic.
That joke's never getting old, is it?
Classic.
Never.
One of us saying that and then commenting that's never getting old is never getting old either.
Great. I like eventually a podcast will mutate into that's not getting old, that's not getting old, that's not getting old, the entire podcast.
Yeah, we're just stuck on a loop for like 20 minutes. We're supposed to be talking about a movie. That's never getting old. That's what,
We're really on the third iteration right now.
We are. We've
talking about it right now.
We've lost our minds already, and we are less than 2 minutes into this episode.
Excellent.
So, how's your week been? What's going on in your world?
I mean, this podcast really. I've been trying to see how we can get more in contact with people. We've had actually a pretty good week with comments and posts and stuff, and loving that. Like I've said before on this podcast, this is an ever-evolving thing. We want to fine-tune things here and there. I mean, fine-tune it. We have to tune it first. But yeah, we have, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm getting little advice from people here and there on how to do the podcast. But at the same time, I'm very well aware that we still should do it the way we want to do it, because that's half the point of this whole thing,
Yeah, sure is.
And you?
Yeah, not much. It's hard to have much going on at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah.
This life is just monotonous at present. But we have this, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So
we can at least say we've done something over.
Yeah, we found an outlet for our passions somehow.
A very unique outlet that no one else has done. It's amazing.
Speaking of an outlet for your passions, karate. This week's movie, The Karate Kid. What you reckon?
Do I like it?
Yeah. Did you like it when you were a kid?
Well, this is a change to the form. Yes. I really enjoyed it as a kid. I'm gonna be honest. Watching this movie, it felt a lot darker when I was a kid. Like it seemed a lot more scary and sort of like intimidating as a child.
Do you reckon?
Whereas, yeah, absolutely. I thought it was like a really thuggish movie as a kid, and now it's just like not really. It's
yeah. I guess you're right. Well. Right, okay, so before we move on to the main section and run through the plot and what this thing is all about, a couple of quick details off the top. The Karate Kid, now this is the first movie in the franchise, is a 1984 American martial arts drama film, which is one of my favorite genres of movies. I think martial arts
quite
dramas.
a lot in that genre, to be fair.
It is written by Robert Mark Kamen, one of those. Directed by John G. Avildsen, who I only learned that's the Rocky director.
Yeah,
I genuinely,
which makes sense. You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah, I mean it wasn't like a shock, as in really. It was more just well, that's cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's I didn't realize that. Yeah. It's the first installment in the Karate Kid franchise, which of course now there's Karate Kid 2, Karate Kid 3, the next Karate Kid, the Jaden Smith reboot. It was an animated series. And now Cobra Kai is out.
Which is loved by a lot of people, including us.
Including us, yes.
Yeah.
Karate Kid stars...
We've done hate for something for once.
No,
Woo!
Yeah, it's awesome. The Karate Kid franchise. Well, the Karate Kid, the first one, stars Ralph Macchio as Daniel.
Yes, that's me.
The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
The late, great Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi. Elizabeth Shue as Ali. And William Zabka.
Yes.
As Johnny.
Who has been a delight in Cobra Kai. I'd almost argue he's the best character in the show.
I don't think there's much of an argument. There's not many others you could say.
Yeah.
He's the heart of that show, really, Johnny.
He really is. Yeah. And there's a lot of, I don't want to say depth because it's Cobra Kai, but there's a lot of good stuff in that character.
There's a lot. There's a lot more. There's certainly a lot more going on with Johnny in Cobra Kai than there is in this movie.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of it. The Karate Kid, 1984, big hit, big hit. Kind of revitalized Pat Morita towards the end of his career, and really
karate
shoved Ralph Macchio into everybody's faces for the next like decade, and popularized karate all across America. So,
yeah,
you know,
and it eventually came to Ireland about 20 years later.
Yeah, it came to Ireland when I was a kid.
Yeah,
which it
like started to become really popular, like
the early 2000s. Yeah, I don't know how there's just that delay, and Ireland is 20 years behind the rest of the world at all times and everything.
Not anymore, but like it used to really.
Big time. It was then certainly. So those are the quick little rundown. Let's move into what the hell is going on here. What the hell is going on here? So the Karate Kid.
Everybody was kung fu fight. No, not kung fu.
Not kung fu. Though.
Yes.
In the Jaden Smith version, it's kung fu and not karate.
Which is still confusing, really.
It's just odd that they decided to, hey, let's reboot the Karate Kid, and but this time they're in China and it's not karate.
Do you think it's because of the Chinese market they tried to make a movie for China?
Probably.
Prone to do these days.
Yeah, there was probably a Chinese production team involved there somewhere.
Yeah,
and they said,
"Look, we want to do a martial arts movie. What about that Karate Kid stuff?" I mean, if you think about it, like they have nothing really in common. Those movies.
Very little. They vaguely follow the same sort of plot points as each other, but they're. I mean, it's not even the same character. It's just a whole other Karate Kid thing. Yeah. But never mind that one. This one, 1984, is the Karate Kid. I was very surprised at how long this is.
Yeah, the pacing in this is weird, especially at the beginning.
Like it's over 2 hours long. I definitely don't remember this being that long when I watched it as a kid. In my mind, for some reason, the tournament at the end was, in my memory, the tournament was like 80% of the movie. Like for some reason, I was like, right, it starts, Daniel gets bullied, meets Mr. Miyagi, they do a couple of training montages, and then the All Valley Under 18 karate tournament is like the big thing. That's most of the plot. It's in fact the opposite of that completely.
For me, I think I don't think that changed too much in my head. Like the end was a very small part of my memory. Like, but I don't remember all the school thing. Like where he went into school, met Yawan, I knew the bullying. Like for example, when he was cycling his bike and the motorbikes came, or at the Halloween dance, like when he was being chased by the skeleton crew. Headed by Johnny. I remember those scenes. Those were the big, massive moments, and I felt it was a lot more of that. Or, for example, when he's training to do the wax on and wax off. But I don't remember much of the school element. Yeah. I don't remember the mother at all, to be honest. That was new to me. In my head.
And I mean, she kind of disappears when
she's quite
once
shrill.
Mr. Miyagi comes in. But so this, it starts off, right, with Daniel and his mother getting in the car and leaving their hometown in New Jersey to drive across the country to California, to the Los Angeles area.
Yeah. My mother has promised all sorts of amazing, it's going to be great to have a swimming pool and all this.
Daniel, you immediately get the impression he doesn't want to go, but we also don't see either of their faces for the first 3 minutes of the movie.
Oh, no.
It's like an opening credits thing with just a car driving across America. And
I mean, American Tourism Board really must have put some money into this movie. Like,
yeah, it's very long. It's very. Yeah, I don't know. This movie is a lot more like. It's a lot more character focused than it is a martial arts movie than I remembered it being, to be honest.
It was funny. I remember we were watching it and we were seeing all these, land views of the land and the mountainsides and the desert and all that, and we were giving out. And the moment we finished giving out, suddenly, director of photography came onto the screen as a credit and went, "That's him. He's to blame."
He did a great job. To be fair,
Oh,
there's some truly beautiful shots in this thing.
But you are right. It's very much a character movie.
Yeah, big time. And so the first characters we meet are Daniel LaRusso, and his mother, Mrs. LaRusso. I don't know her name.
Who's a good 80% more New York than
Mrs. LaRusso. Well, so is Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel is King Jersey throughout this thing. He's very well, I'm not going to do it again because I did my Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles impression last time, and it's kind of that again. It's the same sort of
I just had a wonderful thought. Like, if Cobra Kai just goes off the deep end, I'd love to see an alternative version of Daniel coming through where he stayed in New York and learned a different fighting style, and just have the two facing off against each other. Give me that.
They do. Surely, I wonder if they ever did. Surely, there's been a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Karate Kid crossover. Somewhere
it must have been
somewhere in some
medium.
There has to have been. Daniel LaRusso has to have teamed up with Leonardo.
The three little ninjas crying somewhere by not being involved.
Oh God, I remember three. Yeah, Jesus, those poor guys. Yeah, God.
Yeah.
So the movie takes us across the country, Jersey to California, to Reseda, the shitty part of LA. We guess.
Yeah.
We guess.
Yeah, we assume.
And in Cobra Kai, they tell us that many times.
Yeah.
Daniel and his ma are moving into their new apartment, and they're instantly greeted. Daniel instantly makes a new friend. It's immediate.
Who shows up once more and then disappears.
Yeah, well they do give him an exit.
Yeah, for
later.
the football thing.
He there's one brief scene where he's they show him deciding not to be friends with Daniel anymore. That's it. He's gone forever. I can't even remember his name. He's just there. He sees Daniel. This is another element I didn't remember, is that Daniel was learning karate before he met Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, no idea that happened to it.
Because it's immediate. It's one of the first things Daniel does is he karate kicks the gate open into his new apartment building and nearly knocks over this guy. And your man's like, "Whoa, was that karate? That's cool, man." And then
Ever getting any fights? Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah. Daniel
you never got in a fight in your life,
Daniel's Jersey tough guy, yeah, of course, man. I've been in a load of fights. What up? Yeah. But it's I totally forgot that Daniel he was taking lessons and he was teaching himself moves from a karate manual that he bought somewhere. And
imagine buying that nowadays.
Yes. You just
can I get a book on karate? Oh, you mean the history? No.
I want a book that has figurines, images to show me how to place my arms and stuff. Just watch a YouTube video, man. Oh yeah, okay. It's it was an odd one. I had totally forgotten about that element of things. And then the trouble starts, I guess. Well, actually, we had so this is the first instance where the sink in their apartment is not working, so Daniel has to go see the repairman to ask him to fix it. And that repairman is none other than Mr. Miyagi himself.
Genuinely the best character in the movie.
Easily, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
And
but we had a comment from somebody concerning this part of the movie, I think.
My brother even. Yeah. He mentioned that nowadays kids probably wouldn't be as trusting with adults. They wouldn't just walk into an adult's house and go, "Hey, how are you?" That's definitely a social change. And Killian, my brother, was very clearly wrote that out. And I suppose that's a big part of the movie. Most families don't just let random older men into their safety circle.
No, there's not a chance in hell today that if your 17-year-old son came home and said, "Hey, what have you been doing all today, the last couple of days, son?" "Oh, I've just been hanging out in this old Japanese man's house. He's teaching me things." No, you're immediately calling the police.
Yeah, of course you would.
Saying, "What the hell's going on? There's some old guy spending way too much time with my kid."
Yeah. They're doing something called bonsai. I don't know what.
He keeps screaming bonsai, and I don't know I don't know if he's talking about the trees or he's screaming a word because they're different things. It's bonsai and bonsai, which I still, the way Daniel pronounces bonsai is hilarious to me. It's even more pronounced in Cobra Kai. In the first few episodes of Cobra Kai, he's like, he says bonsai, like they're separate words, like BONESIGH or something. It's just funny the way he says it.
Yeah,
for a man who's
so that must be actually probably a real element of the hidden mispronouncing it. That's not even just acted part. Because surely he would have learned it for Cobra Kai.
Well, unless Cobra Kai did it on purpose as a reference to the fact that Daniel can't pronounce the word in the original film. Like he still can't.
They did run a business eventually, him and Mr. Miyagi.
They did sell those things, yes.
So I feel like he probably had learned it at some stage.
Surely, but yeah, I don't know. Mr. Miyagi, he's saying it completely wrong first, and then eventually Mr. Miyagi's just like, oh, close enough, whatever.
Yeah,
get over yourself. Come on, it's just a tree.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny one. But the movie then, so this is where everything kind of...
Mr. Miyagi also noticed him practicing karate, that kind of stuff. He's aware now this kid has tried some karate,
Yeah, that's after the party on the beach though, isn't it?
Oh, that's true, yes, because he notices...
I think because Daniel has the black eye. Yeah. So Daniel goes with his newfound friends, they go to... Well, the guy says, hey, we're having a party on the beach tomorrow, and then they go to the beach and it's just 6 guys with a football.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a party. They're just like...
Yeah, with a bunch of girls just sitting around a fire.
Yeah, but the girls aren't with them. They're in separate groups. Like,
look, to be fair, that's a very teenage thing to do as well. Where it's like, oh, we're not here with you, but like, if we would talk,
I know,
we're nearby,
but it's just like, it's not a party, is what I'm saying. No, like, they're just like at the beach, kind of.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
This is where Daniel meets Ali for the first time.
Yes.
Who is
Ali with an eye.
Ali with an eye, who is a rich girl from the other side of the track. Well, Daniel's from the other side of the tracks, I guess. Is that how that phrase works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the nice side of the tracks.
She's from the other side of the tracks, the wealthy, nice one.
Yeah, the polished tracks,
Yeah,
really nice.
Yeah. Ali's a rich girl, but she's got a heart of gold, and she's not like the other girls.
And she's so totally over her ex-boyfriend, Johnny.
Johnny, yes. The ultimate badass, Johnny Lawrence.
Who literally says, no, I'm not a ruffian anymore. I'm legit. I need to study as my final year in high school. Like, oh!
It's his first lines in the movie. He turns up on a dirt bike with his pals, Bobby and the other guy. And one of them's like, hey,
beer, like.
They offer him a drink, and then they look down at the beach and they see Daniel and Ali like flirting together with a football and all this kind of stuff. And Johnny says, nah, man, I'm a changed man. I'm in my senior year. I need to study and get good grades and get into college. I'm not a delinquent anymore. I've given up all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then immediately proves himself wrong.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
He gets angry and he runs down to the beach and like confronts Ali. He's like, yo, what, Ali, I want to talk to you. We find out that they've broken up recently. But Johnny clearly wants her back type thing.
Yeah.
They have a row.
It's a pride thing.
Yeah, they have a row. Daniel gets himself involved, says, hey, leave her alone. And, tries to fight Johnny Lawrence, who, even though Daniel isn't aware at this point that Johnny is a black belt in karate, Johnny's still way bigger than him.
Yeah. Also, Johnny does the ancient form of karate, which I think is called making someone fall over all the time by tripping them.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just messing with Daniel, I think, at first. He's really just toying with him. He's like, look at this scrawny little dirtbag. He's just like tripping him up and like pushing him.
But like originally he hasn't, it's not like he kicks him though. He just puts his leg out.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, he's just tripping him. He's just tripping up Daniel and making him fall. And then he's like, oh, he kind of tells Daniel to go away. Daniel's on the ground. He's like, don't get up kind of thing. He's like,
mind your own business. Like,
just stay out of this kind of thing. And Daniel sucker punches him. And then he takes it seriously and beats the crap out of him.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, that scene could be read very differently to different people. Like, and now having watched Cobra Kai, like, I don't think Johnny put himself in the best light when he had a fight there. But he certainly wasn't, I think, the worst person there. He behaved himself more or
Yeah,
less.
it's yeah. So this was another question / comment that we had in from somebody about
Emma.
From Emma sent this one into us on Facebook and said that what did we think of the theory that Daniel is actually the bad guy in this story and Johnny's the good guy. And honestly, Cobra Kai has definitely shown us an awful lot more of how things looked from Johnny's side of things.
Yeah.
Than we get at all in this movie. Because Johnny's not really in this movie.
No, he's not.
He shows up every once in a while and pulls some shit, and then, but it's like 80% of this movie is just Daniel and Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Like most of it is their kind of relationship and everything, and Johnny's barely in it. Ali's in it a bit more than Johnny is, and like Kreese is like has 3 scenes in the movie.
Yeah. I would like I say one thing, right? But like if we added up the moments of Johnny and Daniel, so there's the fight on the beach, and if you want to act behavior-wise and who's right and who's wrong, I think it's about even. Like Johnny shouldn't have been as much of a dick about them breaking up, but at the same time, Daniel started the fight once Johnny was like, "Here, be clear, get away from me. This has nothing to do with you." And he's right; it's nothing to do with him. And he didn't become physical towards her or anything. Like he got angry and frustrated, and seems like a bit of a dick, but I would say that's a draw. They're very much a draw when it comes to dickishness for that scene. I would then say, like, when they ride the motorbike down and when he's on his bicycle, that's Johnny being a dickhead. Like, he's not a good guy in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they force him off the track. But then when Daniel puts like a hose in the bathroom on him during the Halloween scene, like that's obviously Daniel being a shithead. So when you want to add them up, they come fairly even. Like,
it's definitely much more of a back and forth than it is just Johnny straight up like beating on Daniel the whole time.
Yeah, it's not a bully position. It's like 2 sides against each other.
It's definitely it's really. I mean, the movie kind of like Daniel is definitely afraid of Johnny after the first fight, and he avoids going near him in school, and like he goes to the Cobra Kai gym at one point because he's like, oh cool, a karate dojo, I want to go take lessons. And he as soon as he sees that Johnny's there, he leaves. So he's definitely like, Daniel's like more afraid of Johnny than Johnny is of Daniel at all.
Well, like, but Johnny has the power.
Yeah. So it's I don't know, it's hard to say. I think if not for Cobra Kai, you probably would still think Johnny's the bad guy in this instance. But like,
maybe
when you watch Cobra Kai then in season 1, and Johnny tells you how it looked from his point of view, that this random kid just showed up at the beach one day and tried to move in on his girlfriend and started a fight with him, and then like covered him in water at a Halloween party when he was just minding his own business and stuff. And it's like, I mean, you can see it from his point of view too. He kind of Daniel wasn't like innocent in the whole thing.
But he wasn't even without Cobra Kai. Like, if you really looked at this, like, Daniel doesn't come off as pure innocent either. Like, he has a temper. He kind of goes. I suppose that's the whole thing with Miyagi. Miyagi makes a big point that karate's not about fighting. It's about finding peace inside your mind, in your heart, to not have anger in your gut, like, and that's what he kind of teaches him.
Life is all about balance, Daniel-san.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, balance. Like, Daniel's anger started a lot of this shit too.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of it. Yeah, I think Daniel, he's clearly like not having a good time. He's kind of frustrated at the fact that he's been forced to move his whole life to California, and maybe he wanted
on his mother's whim, like,
or maybe he wanted to take out his anger on something, and he found Johnny, a willing participant in this. Johnny said, "Oh, you want to fight me? All right, buddy.
Yeah,
let's fight then. Let's do it."
And the beauty thing about Cobra Kai is we understand why Johnny is so angry and frustrated as well. Like, you know,
yeah, big time. Which is that's something that's not in this movie at all.
Yeah,
we never even meet Johnny's parents
stepfather, yeah,
or anybody, or even his relationship with Kreese. Like, another thing that was surprised me is Kreese has 3 scenes in this whole movie.
yeah.
We meet him once, briefly, when Daniel goes to the Cobra Kai dojo and says,
Yeah.
and Kreese is there, like, leading the class. We don't really get anything out of that other than that he seems to be a disciplined teacher. Like, the class listen to him and do exactly as he says. That's all we get out of that.
Bit of a hard head, though, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's shouting at them and stuff, but like, it doesn't at that point seem like he's an asshole or anything. Then we meet him again when, after Mr. Miyagi beats the crap out of Johnny and his friends and saves Daniel, they go back to the gym because Mr. Miyagi tells them, you leave Daniel alone, kind of thing. That's where they set up the truce. And then you get then Kreese is like, all right, fine, we'll leave him alone till the tournament, but after that it's open season on you and the kid.
That's when you realize,
that's
okay,
you're kind of like, oh, okay,
like,
he's a bit of a this guy's definitely not a nice guy, you know.
Yeah.
And then you don't see him again until the tournament.
No, you don't.
And at the tournament, you really get because he tells one of the other kids, Bobby, I think it is, to purposefully injure Daniel so that he won't be able to fight, and all this kind of stuff. And you can see he's like, there's 1 or 2 moments where he's like tells the kids to do something that they clearly don't want to do or don't think is right, but he just kind of like, he intimidates them into doing exactly what he says.
Yeah. And I think that's the soldier side that they implied when they were looking at the photographs of him in Vietnam and all that. And, the show goes into that, even though I think I'm kind of with Owen on this. We said this privately. I think it was unnecessary to find out what happened to him in Vietnam.
In Cobra Kai?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I didn't really, I get it. He's a war vet. Like, he went through some shit in Vietnam and now he's a piece of shit. I didn't need the whole thing. I didn't really need that much Kreese backstory, to be honest. But it was, it was fine. It was whatever. That's all we get from Kreese in this movie, though, is just those 3 scenes. And you gather he's not a nice guy, but you don't really get much of his relationship with Johnny or with the other students. You don't get much of anything from the bad guys.
Do you know what I think it is? I think bad guys and angry soldier types became such a cliche by the 80s that they're basically a cliche that you only have to see that here and there, and instantly the audience will know exactly what they're about. You don't need any more.
Yeah, probably. You could be onto something there. And it's interesting then that both mentor figures in this are war veterans.
Yes, they are.
Kreese we discover from the photograph, is a Vietnam War vet, and Mr. Miyagi fought in World War II.
And there was actually this really great scene with Mr. Miyagi, and I'm going to thank David. He's another one of our commenters, and he's been listening to our podcast. And he's an American guy of Japanese heritage, and he made a point about the scene where we see Mr. Miyagi, and this is after, I think, Daniel got embarrassed at the fancy dance ball of the rich people, and he ran to Mr. Miyagi to find a friend, someone he could spill his emotions to. But we actually kind of get the opposite, and we see Mr. Miyagi, he's drinking whiskey with a little picture of a woman in front of him, and we find out that this is his wife, and he's a widower. And we find out that it was while he was serving for the 42nd Division, which was basically a Japanese division during World War II for America. And while he was out fighting war for America, she died in an internment camp while she was giving birth to their child.
Mm-hmm.
And David actually sent on some information about that. And I like to kind of go through it because it gives that moment a lot more sincerity and a kind of an idea of who Mr. Miyagi is. So, like we said, Mr. Miyagi served in World War II in the 442nd Division, which was mostly made up Japanese American, and most of them being second generation. So, their parents would have been people who come into the country, or maybe their grandparents. and at the time, because of the war and Japan being against the United States, America had this thing called the Proof Their Loyalty thing, which was a loyalty questionnaire which was given to Japanese American people to prove how loyal they were to their country. Japanese Americans were seen as basically spies or potential traitors to their country, and they were rounded up and put into like internment camps which weren't even fully finished or made or built. They bring them in where it's basically just a jail, and then they would have to finish building the rest. They had to sell their properties, usually at a pittance. And like, if you think about that, and like there's loads more, folks. George Takei has done so much on this. He's written, I believe, a play. He's written books on this. It's definitely worth reading up on, because a lot of American history seems to pretend the internment of Japanese American citizens didn't happen, or it wasn't as bad. It was fairly horribly brutal, but it shows the kind of character Mr. Miyagi was. He could have been a very, like, he was kind of, before he started talking to Daniel, he was kind of restrained. He was kind of away from everyone. He was working on his own little bonsai tree and all this kind of stuff. But he could have been very bitter. He could have been like, no, fuck America, what's done to me, I've lost my family. But he still reached out the moment Daniel seemed to need help. And if you just watch this movie and you don't know this history, I think you'd say, oh, that's very sad. Mr. Miyagi had a kid and family. But once you bring in the internment camp, you could imagine Mr. Miyagi could have been very, very bitter. But he still cared, regardless. He found that balance. And that's pretty much it. And there's loads more on it, folks, but definitely, I think that scene enhances it.
It's the best scene in the movie.
I think you're right, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
And the Jaden Smith remake tried to do the same scene with Jackie Chan.
Oh no.
It's
really,
it's not, it wasn't terrible either, but you know,
yeah,
it was basically the same thing. Jackie Chan crying and drunk and stuff.
But really, I think this scene, once you know the history, it really does explain the character more than anything else. Like, Mr. Miyagi is a very caring man. Oh, he can be cheeky and give out and be moody, but he's genuinely a good-hearted person whose suffering hasn't ruined him. If anything, has made him more sincere and more caring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And thank you, David. David has, gentleman that he is, sent me a massive email about the history and all that, and I really appreciate reading it. And I really think people should learn more about this history, you know, and realize that history is a bit muddled, and maybe we aren't as pure and good as we think we are.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Sorry to drag it on, but I do think it's important to explain.
Now back to the martial arts movie.
Yes, exactly.
Daniel enters the tournament, the All Valley Under-18s karate tournament.
Yes.
As Mr. Miyagi's sole pupil.
Yes.
He wins. There you go. Spoilers for the end of the movie. Daniel wins.
That was the worst way. No, like, there's a few more scenes. You know, we have great scenes of them training, the wax on and wax off, which is historically now in cinema, you know, as part of cinema. We have this badass moment where Mr. Miyagi says, oh, you know, why don't you have your own car? And he says, oh, you know, I couldn't ever afford it. And Mr. Miyagi, like the pimp he is, brings Danielson outside the front door, says, pick a car. It's yours.
Baby. Take one of my 50s vintage models. Go for it.
Ah, and the thing is, I was saying to Owen, like, imagine having that power, just say, like, yeah, go on, take one.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's grand.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
you're my kid now. Take one of my fancy cars. I don't care.
Yeah. And the thing is, one thing, Mr. Miyagi's never selfish about the attention from Daniel. He's always just like, no, go to your mother. I once had a mother too. I know what it's like. Oh, he's like, here, take the car, bring that girl out on a date. Mr. Miyagi is the player of the year. I don't care. He really is. He's the heart of this movie. Like
he is. He's unbelievable, and a worthy Oscar nomination for Pat Morita for this role, I would say.
Did he got an Oscar nomination for this?
He got nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the 1985 Academy Awards. He didn't win, but he was nominated for this movie.
Well, yeah, very deserving, even just to nominate. Mm-hmm. Very great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think people know this movie. Even people who've just watched Cobra Kai know this movie now. Yeah. Okay, so Well, I think
there's enough scenes, flashbacks to Mr. Miyagi.
There's enough going on in the world. I think people know. You know the rest of it. You know all the big moments, and you know how it ends.
Yeah, we got the crane kick, wasn't it? Sorry, that was my keyboard.
The crane kick, yes, that's the big one. That's how Daniel wins the tournament. So I think
Johnny being super supportive of Daniel afterwards for some weird reason.
Yeah, facts.
Like, you won't deserve this.
I think they forget about that. Johnny once he loses is immediately just like, hey, that was a great fight, Daniel. Well done. Congratulates him and just walks away. That's it. Like,
yeah.
But they couldn't really end their relationship there, really, could they?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go. That's kind of what the hell is going on here. Let's pick out our Jesus moments, I guess. This was tough for me to pick one. I think, I don't know. Do you have one maybe that's more? I
definitely do. I still think Mr. Miyagi being able to heal Daniel's son, like it's just. Yeah, it's a good Jason one, but it's just like still, like this wasn't building up to some, energy bending healing power thing. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised that Mr. Miyagi could do this, but at the same time, he was like, Jesus, okay, fair enough.
It's not. See, to me, something about the fact that he can do that just fits perfectly. It didn't, like, it happens, and even when it happens, it's not like I was like, oh, that's weird that he can do that. It's just like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah. Mr. Miyagi can use magic healing powers on things. That's fine. I'm so totally on board with everything this movie has to say, and all of its mystical life lessons through the art of martial karate. That I
suppose it was building up to that.
I'm like, fine, cool. Mr. Miyagi can
we
rub
learned
his
that
karate
and
save people's lives. That's cool. I don't care.
I mean, the whole thing about the karate thing, at least in this movie, is that it's really just more the philosophy and control over yourself and finding the middle path. So there is a spiritual dimension to it. Yeah. So I guess this is where they went, okay, this slots in. And look, if anyone's deserving of having some spiritual powers, it's probably Mr. Miyagi. But it's just, I just want to go back to one of the scenes in the movie, catching the fly of chopsticks. And it says, if you can catch a fly of chopsticks, a man could do anything. And we saw Mr. Miyagi, it's like the second or third scene he's done this. And then Danny says, oh, let me try. And like 2 minutes in, he catches it. And you'd think Mr. Miyagi would look at him and say, oh my God, yes, you can change anything. But he's like, beginner's luck.
Yeah, he gets properly annoyed and leaves. He's so annoyed that Daniel has managed to do this in the space of like 2 minutes. He's clearly been trying forever.
Because I love the juxtaposition of it, like, because usually it would have been like the master looking, oh my God, this is the kid.
This is the final test. Daniel is the chosen one. No, fuck you, kid. I've been trying to do that since I was 12 years old, and I've never done it. You just stroll in here with your...
And that's the best part about Mr. Miyagi. It's like, he's the Yoda type of teacher. He's not all just about being wise and distant and caring. He's also just like, I'm gonna mess with you.
Yeah, he's very funny, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's definitely very funny. Yeah, I don't know. I found it tough to pick a Jesus moment. I don't know. I'll throw one out there, and it's only a small little, because it was just kind of a throwaway comment. There's a moment right after Daniel gets the car from Mr. Miyagi and he goes to pick up Ali, and he like shows us they like have their like coming they're whatever, I don't know, they're back together, sort of thing,
teenage romance
stuff. And he takes her outside. He's like, "Hey, check out the car." She's like, "Wow, it's amazing." And he says, "Come on, take it for a spin. You can drive." And Ali says, "Really? I can drive?" And Daniel says, "Yeah, of course you can drive, Ali. This is the 80s." It's such a weird, like, were they trying to say that the 80s were now so progressive that even women can drive sometimes? Or was it am I putting too much on it? And it's really, Daniel's just saying, "Yeah, of course you can drive with it."
Do you think it's just the 2020 joke that was around for what? Oh, come on, it's 2020. You know, like, be more woke. Do you think that joke's in your head? And then when you saw that, I was like,
I don't. It was just such a weird little throwaway line that he's just like, "Yeah, it's 1980s, baby. Of course,
with it.
Of course, women can drive now. They couldn't 10 years ago, but now they can." It was just weird. I just remember thinking, "Oh, okay, Daniel, you're a real progressive guy who thinks women can drive."
Do you think they were just girls in the cinema when they watched, went, "Wow, yeah, this is cool"?
Oh my God, isn't he so dreamy? He lets his girlfriend drive his car. That's amazing. He's a 23-year-old man who looks like he's 12. That's crazy. That's maybe a bigger one that's not really in the movie, but Ralph Macchio was 22 years old when he filmed The Karate Kid.
I was trying to figure out the ages of everyone. What was Ali's age? I wonder, like, because she definitely looks like she's a bit older than.
Yeah, Elizabeth
like
Shue
16.
looks older. It might just be because she's standing beside Ralph Macchio all the time, who genuinely like Daniel's supposed to be 17. Ralph Macchio was 22.
He doesn't look 17 either, like,
and he looks 14. So it's very weird. So like Elizabeth Shue, born 1963, she was like 20.
All right, well, so she's kind of fitting it, I guess.
She was about 20 when they shot this movie. So yeah, just weird. Ralph Macchio doesn't age. The man is
no, he doesn't. Even now, beautiful. He doesn't look like he should really be a father of 2 kids and all.
No,
that
he doesn't look like
Cobra Kai.
He's like 50. He's nearly 50 now. So like,
where's Johnny?
Oh, he's older. What am I saying?
Aged.
Johnny, William Zabka has aged. Probably like they've exaggerated that in Cobra Kai to show that Johnny's lived such a fucking shit life.
Yeah, I imagine they just haven't given him a lot of makeup on the show and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and are they just like they're making him look tired all the time and like just
here, just don't drink water for the next 3 days, okay? We need you to dry out.
You dehydrated for this because you're Johnny is supposed to have spent 25 years of his life just drinking and partying and like not taking care of himself. So, all right, there's our Jesus moments. Let's wrap this up and get into some final thoughts.
Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
The Karate Kid, in complete juxtaposition to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is a movie that I loved as a kid, that watching it again now has only made me love it even more.
100% agree.
It's a really just a really good movie from every.
And you know what? It's not larger than it tries to be. It does what it does, and it's great.
Yeah, that's the thing. It never it's so watching it again this time. It's so unexpectedly quiet in a lot of places. Now there is a lot of the scenes involving Johnny have the big like 80s rock anthem Cobra Kai score thing that they do.
Great,
which is incredible,
brilliant.
But there's so many like quiet, thoughtful, just peaceful moments to the movie that are
things just happen. The slowly.
They're not afraid to like take their time with the story they're trying to tell and really like actually say something and tell it properly and not just be like, this isn't like the thing is, after watching this again, is that I think Cobra Kai is not the Karate Kid.
No, it's not.
It's very different. Cobra Kai is a lot more. I mean,
cartoonish,
and it's a lot more dialed up. But like, I know as meta as it is, and that the characters are all aware of how ridiculous everything that's going on is. But like, it's still much more. There's like full on, brawls between rival karate dojos in high schools and
it's
stuff.
Not even that.
It's just
like when Johnny goes to his friend in the church and it's the Reverend, and the Reverend just fucking knocks him the hell
And
out. I mean, I loved it, like.
Yeah, and I guess because Cobra Kai is Johnny's story.
Yeah.
Now, so it's more like this is Johnny. This is what Johnny is like, kind of more than.
But here's the thing,
Daniel.
Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's the fact that when we look back at things nostalgically, they're always heightened far more than we're used to, like than they actually are. Like we always have greater notions of what a movie is in the past, and then sometimes when we watch it, it's a lot more lukewarm than we thought it was. Maybe they just said, "Hey, this is going to happen, so yeah, let's bump up Cobra Kai a little bit. Let it actually feed into that hyper nostalgic view of what the Karate Kid was."
Yeah, that's probably what they were doing. Yeah.
Yeah. See, we know stuff. We break down stuff.
We're smart. All right.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently not when it comes to One Division episode 4. Apparently we're wrong there, according to everyone.
I mean, no, we're not. We're perfectly right. But that's for another episode.
Yes, sorry for a bit of cross streaming there.
Yeah. So that's the Karate Kid.
Yes,
it's a lovely movie. I'm really glad we got to watch it again. So
I mean, I want to watch the other 3 or 2, whatever, again.
3.
See, it wasn't that easy, was it?
Well, like 4.
Yeah. Well, if you want to include the new one.
Yeah, I mean that's the Karate.
I mean, I suppose it's part of the legacy, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping Jackie Chan makes an appearance in Cobra Kai someday.
I wouldn't hate that at all. I'd be down for that.
I think that'd be amazing. Just a brief little Jackie Chan cameo would be awesome.
It doesn't even have to be cameo. Have him be like there for an episode or something. It's just like, there's this teacher that came into town. It's just Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I think they could easily get Jaden Smith back.
Yeah.
Will Smith is a producer on Cobra Kai, so they could probably get Jaden in.
Oh fuck yeah! I'm down for that. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of that Karate Kid movie, but bring it into the universe.
I thought it was fine. I think it'd be great fun to see them show up in Karate Kid, in Cobra Kai, in the Karate Kid. I want to go back in time and have
CGI them.
I want somebody to re-edit this original Karate Kid and replace all Daniel scenes with Jaden Smith. That's what I want.
You just want to see Jaden Smith fall into water repeatedly by Miss Miyagi.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So you've stuck around this long, guys. We're at the end of the episode, so you get to find out what we're doing next week. Daniel, son, what are we doing next week?
Daniel, son, we are going to watch the original Transformers animated.
We're sticking with this. We're going to have to turn this into a series now at this stage. We just
just do weird 80s,
keep
90s.
watching like early 90s, late 80s things people watched as kids.
Well, it's just, I don't know. I think because of COVID and that kind of stuff, a lot of people are going back to comfort stuff. And, nostalgia is a comfort. And if I heard anything ever, the original Transformers animated movie is one of those most nostalgic things ever. Because I don't care for Transformers. I really don't. But I know people who cry over the original Transformers movie.
Yeah, I have no affinity for this at all. This isn't something I watched or enjoyed or liked at all as a kid. I've never seen it, so all I know is Orson Welles plays a planet, and his
he does. And he was drunk.
His diary entries or his commentary or something that he did somewhere about his role in this is hilarious. But that's for next week. We'll stick up a post on Facebook letting everybody know. You can send us in your comments and thoughts and questions on Transformers.
Follow us on social media, folks. Like and subscribe. Comment, please. It all helps the show. And I think that's it from me.
And that's it for me as well. We'll be back Friday for more One Division, when we'll dive into how wrong we have been.
Yes. Imagine the next episode could just prove us completely wrong. It's like, oh, actually, no.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. In the meantime, look after yourselves, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Asherlo.